What makes a good video game narrator? I'm not talking about Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch narrators. Those take a back seat to the gameplay and serve as just something to announce the game and don't play a major role. I'm talking about narrators that are essential to a game, almost having the entire game rest on their shoulders. I'm talking about the Stanley Parable. The Stanley Parable is a game released in 2011 as a Half-Life 2 mod and was remade in 2013 as its own game with a new direction. It's a single-player game that is more of an art piece than a game. It features no other people to interact with, and all you're able to do is simply walk around. Even the beginning of this video, the screen is a square to show the bland old office computer. But I'm not going to show you the gameplay that way, so we're going to do this full screen. As you walk around, the narrator tells you about what to do and describes the setting and will occasionally stop narrating to tell you his own thoughts. But before we talk about what makes him the best narrator, what makes a narrator good? A good narrator will set a tone of the game and reinforce it. A narrator is unseen and gives a description or a command. And finally, a good narrator will make you think. Alright, we got that out of the way, so let's start the two paths a narrator can go down. Disclaimer, a lot of this is my opinion, by the way, so it's just my disclaimer. A great narrator can go down two roads. One is in character, talking to the protagonist, or talking to the player. No two games do this better in my opinion than Portal and Getting Over It. Disclaimer, I haven't played every game ever, but I have played these titles, and I think they show some of the best narration for each of the categories. In Portal, Glados is a looming ominous voice. She has witty remarks mixed with dark humor that is used perfectly with the tone of the game. Her voice is robotic and cold, making you feel lonely as you explore and solve puzzles in this unknown and strange place you find yourself in. She sets the tone and the game of Portal in general. She's in character and you know that she's watching your every move. Without her presence in the game would feel vastly different tone-wise. As she talks to Chell, the protagonist, you find yourself disturbed by some of the things that she says. Her addressing Chell is something that really makes you think about who this voice is. She's a keystone in that game in so many ways, and she's the perfect fit. In Getting Over It with Bennet Foddy, you find yourself struggling up a mountain. As you climb, Bennet Foddy, the creator of the game, narrates your climb with witty remarks and quotes.
If you deleted your homework the day before it was due, as I have, or if you left your wallet at home and you have to go back after spending an hour in the commute.
Sometimes inflicting mental pain by talking about failure in such a calm way that it contrasts the infuriating gameplay. Oof. Sorry about that. He talks in-game naturally, speaking occasionally, reacting to your failures and successes. His narration to the player is something that the game is perfect for. It's self-aware about the pain inflicted on the player and is very blatant about it. And to add a cherry on top, doesn't just acknowledge but owns the fact that he's inflicting pain. It's the perfect narration for that game, acknowledging the player is by far the strongest choices for the game. Without the narrator, I don't think the game would have done as well as it did. The Stanley Parable hits both of these, and makes the perfect narrator. There's no transition between addressing Stanley, the playable character, or addressing the player. It's done in such a way that I'm not even questioning it. The narrator is funny with a sense of whimsy. It feels almost like a fairy tale. When I started this game, the first questions I asked were, where am I? Where is everybody? And how do I play? But then I realized that those questions didn't matter. The story was mostly just a placeholder for the bigger picture. Those are questions you slowly arrive at in Portal. You start to ask yourself why you're being kept in this place. Where is everybody? Why is there empty rooms with glass in every facility? These are fundamentals of the game. You ask yourself questions and you slowly get the answers. This is different opposed to Getting Over It. In this game, you don't ask yourself why I'm here or where is everybody. You simply accept that you're here and you play the game. Both of these games are gameplay focused for the most part, but have a different type of narrator. These two narrators are perfect for their games. Both react to the player and both set the tone of the game. The difference is the personalities and the way they address the player. GLaDOS never breaks the fourth wall, whereas Getting Over It with Bennet Foddy, he exclusively talks to you, not the person in the pot. But the key difference between them is the fact that one addresses the player directly, and the other one just interacts with the playable character, Chell. These two game narrators work on their own for that game. And this is where the Stanley Parable truly shines. The narrator will jump from talking to Stanley to talking to you.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
It's seamless and yet has no transitions. It allows the it allows the Stanley Parable to do things the other two narrators can't do. He can tell jokes and make you laugh, but also tell you a personal journey that makes you want to learn more. He can tell you and describe the world around you with perfect detail, but immediately stop to tell you to play the game more like Stanley would. It allows for the creative freedom for the narrator, more than most others. I mean, what other video game narrator can scold me about hiding in a broom closet?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending?" Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid.
The game has fun with itself, giving moments of levity, allowing moments to make you think about your actions. One playthrough I had, I was walking through a door I entered, into this room with lights.
Here, yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
And the narrator played up this room telling me that this is where he's truly happy, in this moment. I felt like I wanted a story. This made me realize the reversal of roles. I had just been in a broom closet minutes earlier and was told that this broom closet has no choices. There's nothing to do here, so I should leave. But I stayed. I stayed there because I wanted to. But now the narrator wished for me to stay. But I was searching for a story, and that's a realization I came to. To get out of the area, I would need to restart the game or jump off a high ledge to my death. It's something that I knew that I needed to make a decision about. I had to make a conscious decision to jump. It made me more aware that I was also looking for a good story. It wasn't just the narrator trying to show me an incredible story that he made, but me too. That realization really surprised me. It made me realize that most people when gaming will always try and find a good story, even if it means sacrificing something important. We all yearn for it. That's why the Stanley Parable is so incredible. The narrator is easy to listen to and engages me with the story. Other narrators don't have the charisma or gravity that he has. He alone influences how I play. If he tells me not to do something in the game, of course I'm going to continue to do it. I love seeing his reactions and the way he tries to get me to continue on with his story. That's what makes him a great narrator, one that influences you in such a way that it can change your personal goals in that moment.
Don't take anything with you.
This isn't just for him, though. In Portal 2, if Glados tells me not to bring the companion cube, you know I'm gonna try my hardest to bring it with me.
I think that one was about to say, "I love you." They are sentient, of course. We just have a lot of them.
But Glados doesn't speak to me the same way Bennet Foddy or the Stanley Parable does. She speaks down to me. Most narrators are slightly disconnected from the player, whether they look down on you or antagonize you or just come from a different level. The Stanley Parable switches from passive-aggressive remarks to legitimately trying to help me. It's the perfect dimensions to a character that make him stand out among the rest, but it's not the fourth wall breaks and the witty remarks that make him great, but honestly, just some of the most basic narration can interest me.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change?
My favorite room in the game is by far the employee lounge. It's this blue room that looks mildly inviting, but the moment you start hearing him talk about this room, it made me want to return there every game. The rich descriptions of the room made me love it. From describing the walls to describing the boring objects in the room, he made it sound appealing. He made me return to the room over and over again, just to hear what he has to say about the same room, just in a different way.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
The room wouldn't change at all. No coffee mugs, no books, anything moved. But every time I entered that room, it somehow felt fresh, like a new coat of paint.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality.
To have a player return to the same room just to hear a description in a video game is something rare. And to have a player return consistently and call it their favorite room, there must be something right about the writing. I know that there's few people with the same tastes in games or favorite parts of the Stanley Parable as me, and if you find it boring, I don't blame you. But if you listen to this and see the room, you can't help but listen and silently appreciate the room. I mean, look at this.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
That's why the Stanley Parable has the best narrator. It's everything. It's the descriptions, the charisma, the ability to switch from breaking the fourth wall to talking to the playable character. But most of all, he makes me think of him not just as a character in a game, but as an equal. It's not just me on this adventure through the office, it's with him too. Any adventure in the office I go on, whether it's us being friends or him trying to kill me, I want him to be there. And that's what makes him such a great narrator. Thanks for watching. I hope to make more videos in the future. If you have any video ideas or disagree with my video, be sure to let me know. Stay safe out there. This is Linguini Lucas, signing out. A goodbye. I don't have an outro, so... do 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 do.